Welcome to the Queer Witch Project, your resource for all things queer and witchy. I am Damona, a fabulous, non-binary, neuro-spicy, ordained queerdo with a fascination for all things cycles, symbolism, and patterns.
And I'm Moonkittee, your queer femme, poly kitchen witch, and proud geek. Today's topic is dream magic.
Well, dreams are also one of those realms of magic. It happens
Mhm,
in this liminal space where you're totally asleep or, your body is tucked in and your mind is going.
mhm,
Some people think your spirit's going. So it's just one of those very magical topics that's very
mhm.
fitting for our witchiness. And I
Absolutely.
love I love to diving into this, very mysterious, liminal, weird, dreamy space.
Absolutely. So, my first question to you is, do you dream and do you remember them?
Yes, and yes. And also a lot sometimes no. So I
Hmm.
will say that I don't remember every dream I have,
Right.
but I dream a lot and I have very vivid dreams. And I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I'm kind of like a cat. I like naps. But yes, I have a lot of dreams and some that I remember, like I can remember, oh, I dreamed that once. So like they've
Hmm.
really, really stuck with me. And
Hmm.
then other dreams are just come and go. Whatever. Dream a
Hmm.
lot. I love sleep.
Yes. No, I'm with you. I also love sleep. And for me, I same thing. I dream a lot. Sometimes I just it's constantly. I think for the last, I want to say for at least the last 5 or 6 years now, I've been having like nightly dreams and they're just vivid. And my dreams tend to be like an action adventure movie. I swear, because they play out like a movie for one, whereas I'm making a choice. So it's the movie slash video game that I'm somehow in the middle of, in the perspective of, which usually means they're not very actually restful.
I've heard, yep. I've had
So
dreams like that where I'm like, God, I'm exhausted from dreaming all day. Or
exactly
well, not all day, but
all
all
night.
morning. Well, so for me, it's I get one good deep sleep in
Hmm.
where I don't dream. So my first sleep and hopefully sometimes my second sleep are really good where I don't dream. But I am older now, so I get woken up by, you know, biological needs
Hmm.
in the middle of the night or sometimes kids in the middle of the night. So I have to get that one deep sleep in, and then from there, any more rest that I get in the night, which is really the wee hours, the witching hours of the
Hmm.
morning
Right.
tends to be not as deep. So you kind of get to a lesser deep level and then there's more brain activity.
Hmm. Have you ever woken up from a dream and immediately looked up the meaning? Gone on to
Um,
Google.
yes, so sometimes you'll wake up with that sense that it sticks with you for whatever reason because it feels something intensely or it seemed very symbolic or it seemed like you're getting like a direct download like I
Hmm.
need to write that down or I need to look that up or oh my God, wait till I tell so and so this because that's so often how I handle these kind of
Right.
things.
No, I do the
Yeah,
same.
like
There definitely have been times when I've woken up from a dream and in the middle of the night, I will text someone or send like a
yep.
messenger quote or something like that. Where it's like, I need to say this now because I'm not going to remember, but I think you will find this hysterical and like download at 2 a.m.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but if you dream of someone, and something's going on with them and you discover it in the dream world, do you ever just wake up and check on them? And then they're like, oh my God, I've been going through shit. Like, I can't believe, like, it's like your spirit knew I needed to hear from you.
Hmm.
Because
Yes.
that's been known to happen from time to time.
Hmm.
Sometimes just our psyche knows, but we're not conscious. So our subconscious or unconscious has to somehow find a way to get our attention. And I feel like dreams is
Hmm.
one of those ways. Another way is we meditate or we sit and we get a reading. There's different ways, but I think dreams is
Hmm.
definitely one of those really hardcore ways that. So yes, I feel like dreams are a tool that our consciousness uses to speak to itself.
Hmm. Definitely have gone to bed with a problem and woken up with a solution
That's dream
many
magic right
times.
there. Yep. Yeah. So dreams are very important.
Hmm.
Did you know that it's actually not, and a lot of people do dream but don't remember it, so they don't
Hmm.
really know. Some people will be like, "Oh, I don't dream," but you do, you just don't remember it.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's actually not psychologically healthy for you if you never dream.
Hmm.
So much of your brain is just like processing, biologically it's processing the day, and it's, downloading the memories banks. I always sometimes think of it like how Disney explains Inside Out with the
Hmm.
thoughts and feelings and stuff. But I also just think of it as sometimes as a computer, and
Hmm.
it needs its maintenance. It needs to go through its, disk clearing cycles or whatever. So it's actually very important that you get rest and you dream.
Hmm.
And um, a little bit other side of dream magic is also having dreams, having aspirations.
Hmm. I
So
know
that so that word can be used.
in multiple ways. Yeah. What are your dreams and what is your dream?
Yep, exactly.
And what are the different kinds of dreams? There's again,
Oh,
speaking in that kind of topic.
many, right. So, I mean, I love to download on this one too. Um, I have prophetic dreams. I have had a prophetic dream where I dreamed that something was going to happen, and I woke up, and not a day or two later, it did happen. And it was like, I literally dreamed about this. I'm so glad that I told someone, because it's not like then I'm not like making
Hmm.
up that I'm psychic sometimes, but sometimes I have prophetic dreams, and things do that I did dream about do come true.
Hmm. I've often gotten messages from the beyond. Um,
Yep.
I've had several times I've gotten messages from my grandparents, from my grandfather, my
Yep.
grandmother, and even a very complicated situation with a friend, um, where it's I didn't realize how much tension I was holding back even years later after their death. Um,
Mm.
about something, and they finally came to me in one of my dreams, and I just unloaded. I unloaded all the complicated emotions that I had, and I remember this very vividly, all those complicated emotions, how I felt, how I loved, how I hated, all of that. And it woke up with such a cathartic release.
Mm.
And it was like it took that time for me to be able to say all the things that I didn't. And then I've also had again times where my grandfather has come to me in moments where I'm like stressed or can't figure something out. And it's like, ask me questions. And the one that I find silly, and I promise not to talk about my dreams too much because I know that could be a very hard tangent to fall into, is this is one that I had relatively recently. And it really only even more recently came to understand the metaphor behind it is about a year and a half ago. I had my grandfather, who has now been past 15, 10 plus years, come to me, and I was really stressed. And he's all, I wonder what Pamela Anderson is doing right now, which I thought was really funny and really silly, and didn't think about anything else. It was like somehow it comforted me. If you look at her now, and you actually, I don't know if you've paid any attention to her, she has gone on in the last 2 or 3 years. She has literally gone into this. I am not wearing makeup. This is who I am naturally. This is me to be me. And I'm not going to put on this face or this front to be anything else than who I am. And she's
Wow.
going on this circuit of talking about it and going and becoming this thing. And it's like, this is again a year and a half later, and it's suddenly becoming this crazy metaphor that I didn't know that I needed.
That's funny.
But it's again, you get those things that come to you sometimes in the right
One,
time or place, and you'll find the meaning to them later.
yeah, 100%. Sometimes I wake up with a phrase that I bring in from the dream world, and I'm like, okay, that's my mantra, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I needed to hear that. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I dream about, I see dead people. I do in
Mm-hmm.
my dreams. My dad is a big one. I lost him when I was 20 years old, and I dreamed early on after he died. I dreamed where I watched his body decompose, and I asked someone like, "What does that mean?" And it was really creepy. I like watched his corpse melt, but he was cremated, so like this isn't real,
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Well, yeah, it's you." releasing the idea that he's attached to his physical form,
Hmm.
his corporeal body. It's your mind releasing that and knowing that he now exists in spirit and in memory and in your heart.
Hmm.
So, and then I've had dreams. I mean, this losing my dad really messed with me because I've had dreams where he was still like, for some reason in my dream, I'm like, Dad, you're here. What? You're still alive? Like, I didn't quite
Hmm.
understand. So then I was like, but what, but we buried you, but we didn't. So why am I saying in my dream that we did? Like in my
Hmm.
dream, I visited a grave site that was his, but like we cremated him.
Hmm.
I still have his remains, technically. So it's funny what dreams do, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's very much like when I wake up, I'm like, he was visiting. He
Hmm.
was saying hello. You know, he was making himself known. I dreamed that he attended my wedding before I got married.
Hmm.
Like, there are ways that I feel like I've definitely, like, no doubt within my heart that some beloved dead will come and give us messages. And
Hmm.
also, not just beloved dead, but the ancestors and
Hmm.
spirit entities that we choose to work with sometimes.
Hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. There's messenger dreams. One
Absolutely.
of the other favorite kind of dreams that I like exploring and talking about is what they call lucid
Hmm.
dreaming,
Yes.
where you can be in the dream and you kind of realize that you're dreaming.
Hmm.
And so from that point on, sometimes you wake yourself up by realizing it,
Hmm.
sometimes. But sometimes you can kind of control things in your dreams a little bit because you kind of have this weird realization in the dream that you're actually dreaming.
Hmm. And that lucid dreaming state is really where a lot of dream magic can be done
Hmm.
because that's where you are you know now that you are dreaming. And but you have the ability to manipulate and control, like you said, to an extent what's around you. And in
Hmm.
that state, because you can, that's a great place to do that magic work and manifest those things and put
Yep.
plant the seed for what it is that you want to do and how you want to make that dream magic work for you.
And
Um,
you know, sometimes you just accidentally fall into a lucid dream, but
mhm,
there's also ways you can look up that gives you tips and tricks for how to fall into lucid
mhm,
dreaming. Like there are self there are ways that you can listen to music that's
mhm,
supposed to help you lucid dream or um setting the intention that you want to lucid
mhm,
dream and like imagining that you're going to a particular place so that when you get there in your dream, you realize you're dreaming.
mhm,
So yeah, it is kind of its own magic in and of itself, that kind of
mhm.
dreaming.
Right. Now, for me, when I recognize that I'm having those lucid dreams, the first thing I try to do is fly. It's like
Yep.
that's what I can tell is like if I can fly, it's like wait, I think I'm in a dream. Can I fly? And if I can, I know I'm at lucid dream state. That's my own trigger for whatever
Yeah.
what reason, but I've definitely had that and where I've woken up from a dream to be in another dream, to be like the inception of dreams as well on a
Yes.
regular basis. And that also is the multiple levels of being there. And sometimes
Yeah, I think Inception dreams, those are frustrating sometimes.
yes.
'Especially, I get those especially when I know that I need to be awake at a certain time in the
Hmm.
morning and I don't want to forget, but it could be way before that. But that anxiety, going to sleep with that anxiety that I don't want to forget I have to be up at a certain time
Hmm.
will wake me up early, but in my dream. Like I'm dreaming that I'm waking up and so that I'm getting up in time to do this thing, but I'm actually just dreaming about doing it. It's not even near the time for me to wake up and
Hmm.
boo 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 boo. But have you ever had like night terrors?
Yes.
So that's another kind of dream,
Yeah.
nightmares and night terrors.
Hmm.
I've had one specific moment where I swear like I was fighting off in real life, like I had parked my body and my spirit was out in my living space fighting off some kind of dark shadow at my door. And I was dreaming this and I become like, and my partner's in my bed with me and I become semi-conscious, but I can't move my body.
Hmm.
So like I know that I'm like it's on the verge of sleepwalking, sleep talking, but I know that I was conscious, like I couldn't wake up and do the thing that needed to be done, but I woke up enough to be like to my partner who was still awake, I like kind of like got their attention and I'm like, go make sure the front door is locked. Please go make sure the front door is locked. And she wasn't even sure if I was talking in my sleep because it didn't
Hmm.
seem like I was awake, but she went and did it. And like I swear I was like in this
Hmm.
weird dream state where I'm fighting off this black shadow and dark shadow, and she needed to physically lock the door to all levels of because I couldn't get myself to wake up enough to do it myself.
Hmm.
And I've never had anything like that happen since then. It was just
Hmm.
like that one moment of like, I'm fighting to protect my living space from some kind of weird energy. It was a weird time in life, you know? The thing is that where we lived, sometimes we would have strangers knock on our door.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it like that seeped into my subconscious or that need to feel safe, but I just remember having like this terror that I needed to fix this thing and I couldn't move because I was like having a night terror or whatever.
Hmm.
I'm sure it could be explained on many different levels.
Right, and that's the good thing is leading into the kind of the next idea is that symbology, the recurring symbology that often happens in dreams, whether it's for a dream or whether it's a night terror or a nightmare. Um, drowning,
Yes.
drowning is often one that you'll get in dreams, and that's being emotion. It's like the idea of you're overwhelmed
Yeah.
with
Emotionally overwhelmed. Yep.
with
I've
water
had
being that
those.
symbol of the ocean or
Mm-hmm.
emotion, and
So
just
not,
being.
I've dreamed that I've survived a tsunami, but in it. And
Mhm.
it's like, wow, okay, I guess I'm supposed to wake up and cry today
Mhm.
because I need something to channel these emotions out.
Yeah, I have.
I've also, oh, go ahead.
I would say I have an unreasonable fear of drowning by driving off of a bridge or going into a body of water, being trapped in a car. So oftentimes
Yep.
I'll get dreams like that and then wake
I've,
myself up from that, especially when I know I'm at a point where I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do and where
mm,
I'm going to go. Um,
yep, I felt
that
that.
anxiety point.
Yep, yep. Um, I've also had the whole like needing to, this is always a message that I need to pee. My body's trying to wake
Hmm.
me up because I need to pee. But I've had the dream where I can't find a bathroom, or
Hmm.
I find one, but all the privacy partitions are gone. So that's another anxiety dream. Some people have that whole like they accidentally show up to work naked or
Hmm.
school without clothes on or dressed in their pajamas or whatever that is. So yeah, there's some, I have a recurring dream often that I dream about living in a haunted house and I explore different rooms, but it's always the same house. And then I like meet the ghosts and I find out what their lore is or why they're ghosts or whatever.
Hmm.
And I believe, and it's sometimes also dream symbology heavily goes back to what you believe.
Hmm.
But I've kind of been told the seed was been planted in me that when you dream of a house, that's symbolic of you.
Hmm.
So I have all these different rooms inside myself that is full of ghosts. It makes me and then and when I have this dream, I go, oh, cool, I get to purge another, not purge, but like I get to address another ghost
Hmm.
that's haunting me in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like that's a part of dream magic for me. That's a part of,
Hmm.
it's therapeutic
Hmm.
to figure out what's haunting my dreams.
Right. Or being in a familiar yet unfamiliar place where you know
Mm-hmm.
where you are, but it's not right. Um,
Right. Alice
and
down the rabbit hole or through the looking
exactly.
glass. Yep.
I regularly have a dream that I'm late for my retail shift. I haven't worked in retail for almost 20 years. And it's that kind of again anxiety because I'm
Uh-huh.
being late, but also where am I going? What am I doing? Where and this it's never quite right where I'm at. And it's
Mm-hmm.
that kind of I
Mm-hmm.
think the idea of looking below the surface, of needing to look below the surface of things because oftentimes like, hey,
Yeah.
there's something happening, but I need to dig deeper. I need to dig deeper into it. It's not about work or it's not
Retail.
about retail. It's about
It's
needing to
about,
dig deeper into something else that is happening right
yep.
now.
Yep. So you have to
So
figure out
it's
what all that means to you.
exactly. And that's the weird thing and fun thing, if you want to call them
Oh
both, about
yeah.
symbology, is it can be some things. And again, the idea of looking things up, and we're not going to go into what every dream possibly means because we can't.
Nope.
That's not possible. But when you have those dreams, especially when you have a recurring dream of some sort, that is your chance to kind of look up and see what is it, where it's going, and how you're going to, what it may mean, or what it may mean to you. Because you may see something going, wait a minute, that doesn't mean that, I don't understand, that doesn't have a relation to my dream. And sometimes it really doesn't. Sometimes your brain is just an electric meat sack that crosses a
Likes to make
wire or
up
two.
movies, makes you watch crazy movies, or yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's really just almost like, is my brain just trying to entertain itself over
Right,
here?
right.
But yeah, other times it can be deeply magical or deeply meaningful, and
Hmm.
you kind of it's up to you to kind of build a relationship with your dreams, kind of like
Hmm.
you build a relationship with tarot or spiritual entities that you want to work with. You also have to build a relationship with your dreams. So, for example, for people who struggle to remember their dreams, the advice is often and always, well, have you kept a dream journal? To which I say, off and on, because
Right.
I'm very ADHD. I'm very bad about writing down my dreams. But I do find that if I talk about them right away to somebody,
Hmm.
which is more of a motivating factor for me. So sometimes it'll be in a text message like, oh, I can't believe what I just dreamed. Or sometimes it's to my partner. I'm like, oh, I had a crazy dream last night. And I love it when people are like, hey, can I tell you about my dream? And I'm like, yeah, let's do
Yes,
it.
please.
Oh, always. You can always tell me about your dreams.
We had a fun one the other day where I dreamed that I was in a polyamorous triad with my partner and a celebrity that we watch on YouTube. And it's
Right?
not a big one, but it's a chef on a cooking channel that we love. And I was telling you about it in the morning, A, to make them laugh, but also that sparked a huge conversation out of the blue. It's like, no, they laugh like,
The
oh, who
dream
would I
knew.
date? Or who could I see myself in a relationship of all of these YouTubers that we watch on a regular basis? And it really sparked a really fabulous and interesting debate about personalities and connections and how things relate to each other and why we would like why we are attracted or why we are interested in watching the shows we do and interested in the people that we are. And it turned into a huge thing, and it's really funny. And we still joke around it about it with all of
That's
our household.
funny.
It's really fun.
Yeah. It's funny how like the dream knows what it's doing sometimes. Like it
Hmm.
needed you to have, like to have that interaction or whatever. Yeah.
Hmm. And I think growing up, I used to constantly dream about people who was not my boyfriend at the time slash husband. And I think now looking back, I think it realizes again is it speaks to my inherent poly nature in that I
Mm.
have that ability and desire to love more than one person. And
Yep. I
it's okay.
understand.
It's an okay thing. It's
Yep.
not meant to be a negative thing. It's not a bad thing if you dream of someone else. It doesn't mean you're not happy in the relationship that you may be in. Again, sometimes
Nope.
it's meet wire crossing, and sometimes it's just saying, "Hey," it's that reminder to yourself that you have a greater capacity than you may be giving yourself credit for.
And you know who you are.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a reminder of who you are. Like, hey, you know who you are. Remember who
Hmm.
you are. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, because I always feel like love multiplies.
Hmm.
So, and sometimes some people don't always know how to listen to their intuition. So sometimes it's like, well, are you listening to your dreams?
Hmm.
Because sometimes some intuitional pickups will ping into there too. Yeah, it can be a powerful magic.
So, speaking of which, how do we harness that power for magical
Hmm.
purposes?
Well, again, I was saying we need to have a relationship with our dreams. So,
Hmm.
building into talking about it and journaling about it, but it's also having a healthy relationship with sleep.
What? I don't believe you.
Rude.
Rude.
If you can't sleep, you can't dream. So, setting intentions for dream states. We can set your space like we do like
Hmm.
for ritual and have sacred sleep with like herbs, crystals, aromatherapy,
Hmm.
some I like sound. So
Hmm.
like I was saying, there are songs you can like even just on YouTube or other various music streaming platforms, you can just search like liminal dream sleep music or
Hmm.
binaural beats where it like plays music to keep your brain occupied and just
Hmm.
lulls you to sleep.
Hmm.
So yeah, setting yourself up for a very successful sleep is a good way to start cultivating the dream magic.
And I'll take that one step further with that idea of setting the stage. And if you want a message about love, then think about the ways that you see and value love, and let that be the last thing that you are thinking about as you're drifting off to sleep. Because sometimes that'll keep you awake, but sometimes, again, if you've got the music going in the background and the other things itself, that will pull you down. And the last thing you're thinking about can also help influence um, magical intention, especially if you set it
Yep.
for being an intention.
And that's another thing is a lot of people like to wake up and pull an affirmation for their day, but you can also pull an affirmation to fall asleep too.
Hmm.
You can write down your sleep intention, your dream intention, your message need, whatever dream magic you intend to do. Like if I do catch myself lucid dreaming, like write this plan down and then
Hmm.
roll it up and put it in your pillowcase somewhere,
Hmm.
under your pillow. So there's like other ways to like know what your intention is to go into building that relationship with your dream self
Hmm.
or your dream ability, your dream skills.
Hmm. Another one that I did, starting with self-preservation, and again, you might or may not have heard my spoopy Halloween story about when I was in a house, um, that on All Hallows Eve, at the stroke of midnight on Halloween, suddenly, this was an older house built about 100 years ago, as background context, suddenly my radio turned on out of nowhere, playing this music in a station that I had never heard of, and there was a message that was coming through. And it just came out of nowhere, like nothing. It wasn't like the power went off and something came back on. Everything was off. It was just this. And since that point, I realized something was trying to communicate with me. But since that day, I have now set the stage and set the requirement that if I am to receive any spirit messages, that they come through my tarot cards or my dreams. So asking to receive dream messages, but also setting intentions and setting boundaries. So I know that
Yeah.
if there is a spirit that needs to come through and set a message, that for me, I am willing to take that message in my dreams. I'm not willing to be woken up out of the
Yep.
blue to get that message. So
Yeah.
setting that stage to receive dream messages can also be incredibly important and receptive for dream magic.
Yep. And then there's always something to be said for intentionally going into sleep mode so
Hmm.
that you can do magic, and not just, the restful sleep that we need every, 24-hour
Hmm.
cycle or whatever. So like there is ways for self-hypnosis
Hmm.
to hypnotize yourself into a dream state.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can do it with an audio assistance. Sometimes people can do it with some visual assistance, but that's worth looking into if you struggle with, like I know some people do, with insomnia.
Hmm.
What's your routine to get yourself back into sleep mode, or even if you just like, I need a message right now and I need to go into a trance-like state to get there. Can you set that time and sacred space aside and put yourself into self-hypnosis,
Hmm.
into trance work?
Hmm.
How would one do that? Kind of, I don't know if people thought about exploring that, but yeah, if you want to
Hmm.
work dream magic, maybe sometimes you have to intentionally invoke the dream state.
Yeah, no, that crossover, like you're saying, is really important between trance, dream magic, or spiritual journeys. If you're going on a spirit quest or a spiritual journey of some sort, I'll have that basis and that tie in with dream magic because you're putting yourself in an altered state
And
to
that's
to
what
be
it
there.
is. I feel like they're all tied into a way of like parking the physical body and all
Hmm.
its demands and its needs and all its experiences, parking it for a minute so that your soul and spirit and consciousness and neurons can do what it needs to do,
Hmm.
what they need to do. Like they have their own special healthy life outside of this meat suit.
Exactly. We are a moot suit powered by electricity
Hmm.
and atoms and all the stuff that makes up the world. So it makes absolute sense that if we can escape the meat suit, that the currents and things, the energy, like you said, that's in with us, mixes with the world and the energy of the universe. And that will be a conduit for more relationships and connections and
Hmm.
messages and
Yep.
guidance and all of the things that we
Yes.
need.
So yes, I love some dream magic. Do
Me
you
too.
think that covers as much dream magic as we can ramble about for the day?
I think so. I can let us know if we missed anything or if you
Well, I
have a
mean, I can
way.
always talk more about dreams that I've had. Can't we all? It's such a unique experience. I would love to hear if anybody has one of those, like immediately if somebody asks you, what's kind of lesson have you learned from a dream, or what dream that has reoccurred, what would you type down in the comments? I would love to hear what do you immediately think about when somebody asks you about your dreams?
Hmm.
And also, I mean, another thing is like having dreams. Again, we talked about having aspirations and knowing that you can plant seeds and make things happen and know what you want, and put some of that manifestation energy into work when you're dreaming.
Hmm.
So sometimes you can believe in your dreams and your aspirations, if you can dream about it in dream state and kind of feel like what it would be like to live that life that you want. So dreams are very important. They're very magical, and you can take that term multiple different ways.
Absolutely.
Well, with all of that said, I just want to say thank you for listening to the Queer Witch Project. And if you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up and 5 stars or 10 stars or however many stars they let you give us. And leave us some comments or send us some emails. We love hearing from you.
Absolutely, yes. And if there's a topic you want to know more about or an episode topic you would like to suggest, contact us at thequeerwitchproject@gmail.com or find us on YouTube, TikTok for as long as it lasts, and Instagram with the handle @queerwitchproject. We upload every other week. And remember, queerness is a key to magic.
Be yourself and love rebelliously. Yay!
Bye!
Bye.